Okay, welcome back, my visionary friend. So now we're in module two. So in the past, previously in module one, we've been dealing with taking shapes, basic shapes, making them 3D, and then connecting them together to make more complex shapes. Now in this module, we're getting ready to get into the nucleus of character building. And so what we want to do is take what we've learned in module one and we want to apply it and put it together so that we can put these shapes and forms into a figure to where we can take this figure and put it into different angles and different positions. So come go with me as we begin to put these into different uh, complex shapes and more advanced shapes and angles. So let's come go with me as we put these things together. All right, let's go.
Okay, guys, so what I want to introduce to you now is we want to take these 3D shapes that we've been practicing on and we want to be able to connect them to different 3D shapes that we create. So as you can see, I'm starting out with what origin shape am I starting out with? What is it? That's correct, the square shape. So I did it at an angle just like we've done in previous exercises. And so now we have our box shape, and then I'm going to add a sphere on top of it. And as you can see, this could be a bottle or it could be a head and a torso on a human figure. Then you put two spheres on the side. So I want you to kind of practice being able to put these things. And as you can see, I drew a line in the middle to kind of help me, guide me, so it'll be at the same level as the other sphere. I'm going to try this again, but this time I'm going to make a sphere first, and then I'm going to put a line segment in the middle of it. Remember we did that before where we drew our segment so that we could draw our ellipse on each end of the segment, and then we start to do what? That's correct. We connect the lines on the side. We connect the ellipse or the ovals. Okay, you can call it ellipse or you can call it an oval. And what did we say an ellipse was? That's correct. It is a flat circle. Okay. And so now when I make those lines refined, you can see it could be a shoulder or a arm, or it could be anything, but we've been able to rotate that cylinder. So now that I'm drawing another sphere, but this time I'm drawing a ellipse underneath it. What am I going to do next? That's correct. Draw another ellipse. And then I connect the what? The sides. That's right. Connect the sides. See that? Maybe that could be a perfume bottle or what have you. Could be anything. But I have my angles because of the way that I drew those ellipses. I'm drawing them and then I connect the sides. And then what I do is I create another bigger ellipse underneath it. And what am I doing now? I'm drawing another ellipse underneath it. Now all I have to do is connect the sides. You see how this could be a bottle that has a top on it. See, I'm making my ellipse and a segment line. And you might say, why do I make the segment line? Well, the segment line helps me to angle the object. And you say, Mr. Balloon, why didn't you do that on all of them? How come you didn't draw the segment line on all of them? Well, I wanted to show you that there's different ways you can do it, different methods. You can do it by eyeballing it, or you can do it by drawing a segment to help you get the angle. And so as you can see, it can be done more than one way. It has many various ways in which you can do it to achieve the results that you want. But I want to show you different ways so you can pick the way that feels comfortable for you, because that's what artists do. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just that whatever way is more comfortable for your drawing style, that's the one you need to do. You see how I drew that to keep the angle? See how I made this in? So we got two shapes, two objects right by each other. So I want you to try that out. So I'm gonna try one more up here. Now, what origin shape is this, guys? That's correct. It is a triangle. And then I drew an upside down triangle. And then I outline the edge and just connect them. Connect them. Now, if I were to take this and to trace over it and trace my lines, make it more refined, you can see that I've created this 3D shape of a star. See how that works? And connect. So now I made a 3D star because I did that. So there's various ways you can try this. So I want you to test this out and try it for yourself. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do another exercise. With this exercise, we're going to connect 3D shapes in one single file, okay? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to divide my paper into 3/4, okay? Because what I want to do is, how many origin shapes did we have? That's right, we had 3. So that's the reason you can see why I divided it into 3. So what's our first origin shape we're going to work with? That's correct. We're working with the square. So with the square, okay, so what we're doing is we're going to single file line up the box or the square shape. So again, I drew the outline. And now what I'm going to do is start to connect, 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 okay? Same thing. Connect, connect, connect. Same thing with the biggest one. And you can see if you're making something mechanical or something that's has technical lines, or they have a lot of geometry, you can be able to do it when you practice exercise like this. Okay, as you can see, I drew a line through it so I can know where the bottom should end up. connect, connect. See how that works? Then I draw those lines, connect and connect. See that? So I want you to try this out. Now, what are we going to do now? That's correct. We're going to do our circle shape. And you may say, what does these exercises do? Well, they strengthen your muscles. And the objective to this is to see shapes and objects in 3D space. Because when you're drawing 2D. That means it's a flat image. But I want you to think in terms of 3D because it will help you with your designs. So I'm not worried about line quality right now. What I want you to focus on is being able to see things in 3D. So you try this out and see how it works. Okay, so we're going to do that same method again. We're going to stack shapes up with each other, but this time what we need to do is I'm going to show you a method of drawing a segment through it so that I can have the angle that I want to create. So as you can see, I have created a dot in the middle of the square and another dot in the second middle of the square. And so I can connect those together to make this 3D. It's almost like a string going through the box from one end to the other. And so now that I have a bigger box, I can do the same thing. Okay, so now I have my dot here and connect. This lets me know where my squares need to go. And it helps me to angle this object correctly. Okay, so now we're connecting it. Going back further, I'm drawing another square behind it. Now, what I could do is draw a bigger square like I did with the previous squares, but I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to connect the corners, okay? Typically, I would make it even bigger, but this time I kind of want it to angle in. So this kind of helps you have more control over objects that you put together. See how that works? Okay, now let's try it with the triangle now. As you can see, I crisscross those lines at the top. You don't have to do that, but that's just something I like to do so that I can make sure that I can make each line connect equally. Now you might ask, why did I make that one smaller? Well, I made that particular triangle smaller because I'm trying to give the illusion of perspective. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next exercise, but I just kind of want to give you an idea of why I'm doing that. Now, do you see how this exercise can be helpful to you? Maybe you're creating robots, or maybe you're creating some kind of figure and you want to be able to connect things together. Or maybe you could be making a spaceship or a vehicle of some sort, and you need to be able to connect objects together. So this time I'm doing it with a sphere. Okay, so now I'm drawing another circle, and I'm using the segment lines to give me the angle that I want, and then I connect the ends. See how that works? Now I'm making an even bigger one. And then I connect the end. And see what happens is when you start exercising these exercises, when you start practicing, then you start to draw free-handed in 3D space. See how I'm drawing this? I'm not using any references. I'm not using any type of tools to help me draw it. I'm just looking at it from what my eyes can see and making it appear to be 3D. Now, I'm able to do that because I was practicing on these exercises. And if you're practicing on these exercises, it will increase your muscle. Okay, this time what we're doing is this line in the middle is called our horizon line. So what I want to show you from here is how that these shapes exist in 3D space, okay? So this dot I'm creating here is called our vanishing point. The vanishing point is the point where you cannot see an object or anything anymore, okay? So I'm drawing our first origin shape, which is a what? What is it? A square. That's correct. It is a square. So I'm drawing my square first. And next, what am I going to draw? That's right, the triangle. So now I have my triangle shape. And finally, what else do I need? That's correct. I need my circle shape. Okay, it's just that simple. And so now I need to connect these corners to the vanishing point. So I'm connecting the corners, whatever side the vanishing point is to your, compared to your shape, that's where you connect the corners. I wouldn't connect the left-hand corners of the square. I would only connect the right-hand side because my vanishing point is on the right side. See how that works? Same thing for the triangle. What side is the vanishing point on? Is it on the right or the left? That's correct. It's on the left. So therefore, I have to connect the lines on the left, not the right. So now when I trace my lines, you see how well it looks? Connecting my corners here. And now you can see that this triangle is going into 3D space. Then I just cut it off right here. So now I'm going to do the same thing for my square. Connect, 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 connect. Okay, and so now I have my cube shape. This is the magic of 3D space and perspective. It's so magical because of how you can take something and create a 3D object out of it just on paper. That's what's the beauty of this is. That's why this is so fun, because you're able to create shapes as if they are realistic. Okay, so now I'm connecting these circles here to create a cylinder shape. You see that? One more right here. So now when I look at this, it looks 3D. Just connect everything and put it back the way it needs to be. Now what I'm going to do is delete the inside of this baton or this cylinder that I have on the ground level. So let me select this and delete it. All right. Okay, I'm going to do this. So you see how it looks realistic now? Going to do it for this triangle shape here. Delete. Good job. Now we have 3 objects in 3D space. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another shape at the top here, and we can see how that we can create a 3D space out of it. What am I doing here? That's correct. I am connecting the ends of this circle to the vanishing point so that I can get my perspective on the object that I'm tracing or drawing. Okay, let me try this at the top here. Put a shape here at the top. So I have a tilted square on the side. And what am I doing? That's correct. I'm connecting the corners to the vanishing point. That's right. Okay, so now you can see this is kind of like a house object. You see that? And now all I have to do is trace it so that you can see the lines better. From here to here, here. Okay, so I'm closing everything off so that it will have that illusion of 3D in perspective. Let's try another one. Another triangle here. Good deal. Okay, so now all I have to do here is connect the corners. Okay, you see how this works? Good deal. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm closing these ends off. So that I can have a 3D effect. See how this works out? Good deal. Good deal. So now we have some kind of a 3D roof, or it could be a 3D letter A. But now I'm going to get rid of these other lines so you can tell what we just created. Now you can see how these things can exist in 3D space now. I'm going to erase this off real quick so you can get the gist of what we just created. See how I'm tracing this? So now I want you to try this exercise out and see how you can create things in 3D space. Okay guys, we're going to try another method with this. Okay, so this time what we're doing is we're doing a series of circles. Okay, so we got our vanishing point here. So we're using the same method again. Creating another sphere. And another sphere. And another sphere. So what I'm doing is I'm creating this kind of a drumstick object. I'm doing a series of them so that we could imagine the drumstick being rotated. I want you to imagine it being rotated. another one here. And you see what I'm doing here? I'm going from the top and the bottom of the ellipse, and I'm creating it a bigger according to the vanishing point. See, the vanishing point gives me a guide to be able to create the next ellipse. You see how that works? You see this? And then what I need to do next. Yep, that's correct. Draw my circle. Okay. So I'm going to do the same process with the other one. Use the vanishing point to create the handle for my drumstick. I'm using the vanishing point to create the handle. And then I draw my ellipse or circle. You see how this is coming together, guys? And then by Halloween, then we connect it here. Now, so what I'm going to do is go back over these with ink. I'm going to ink these. That means I'm going to trace the lines over it, and this will give you a better idea of what we just created. So you connect everything on the sides. And you'll be able to see how this looks like a drumstick or a baton. And you can use this method on anything. You can use this on drawing a flashlight or on drawing a microphone. You can use this same process to help you draw that particular object in different rotations and different angles. This is the name of the game, being able to rotate an object and being able to see things in 3D. Okay, so now that I trace this, you can see what we've created. We have a full rotation here. It's like we took it and spin the mic. See how that works? I'm going to trace these lines here. You see how this is coming together, guys? See, you can do this. And the more you practice, the better you'll get with it. It's just a constant practicing. And then you'll be able to see this without even drawing a vanishing point. And that's what I want to get you to the point of being able to do. Practice so much to where you can just see it right away when you start creating it. See how that works, guys? So now when I take the pencil lines off, you can see how it's an object that's rotated in 3D space. So now I can erase all of my vanishing point lines. And now that I erased it, now you can see that this is a object that's rotated. See, when I erase all my pencil lines, now it looks like it's a microphone or maybe a flashlight or a drumstick rotated. Okay, now finally what we're going to do is we're going to take shape and we're going to create it into 3D perspective. We're going to connect shapes together using perspective. We're not going to use a vanishing point, but we're going to imagine a vanishing point. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm connecting these objects into links. And so I want you to try this exercise and this method out. So what I'm doing is I'm connecting shapes to each other. And depending on where my angle is, it's going to determine where the rotation of the object is going to be. You see how this works? So now I'm connecting a rectangular or a square origin shape. So I have two circles and I have a square shape. And I'm using a segment to connect all of three. So now what I need to do is make this 3D. We need to make the square shape 3D first. See how that works? Make it 3D. And then connect. See how that works, guys? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an ellipse. And I'm going to rotate each ellipse the way that I want it to go when I start connecting all of the objects. Now you see that that ellipse is rotated a certain way. I'm going to do the same thing on this particular object. And then I'm going to do it at the bottom where the box object is located. Now that I have my ellipses, what I need to do, well, I'm gonna draw this shape first. Okay, now what I need to do, since I have proof, okay, you see how that works out? Maybe that could be a hand. And you say, Willie, how could that be a hand? That doesn't look like a hand. Well, when I connect these things together, it'll make more sense to you. So now we're going to connect each ellipse to each other. Connect, connect. Okay, so now I'm connecting the ends. Connecting the ends here. Now you see how this could be an arm? It's all about connecting those shapes together. See how I've used that method that we've been using when we practice drawing those shapes? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over this so that you can get an idea of what we just created. So when I draw over this, I want you to see the magic that happens when I draw over it. So I'm going to draw over this. So now that I trace it, see, it looks more like a human arm now. You see how that works? And I'm going to trace so we can get the idea. Right there. You see how that works? Now let's trace this other one. So typically when we as artists draw, we start out with simple shapes and then we add the detail in later. And here's we got the hand motion. And then we put in those small details. And now you can see how the arm would work out. Okay? So many times this is what artists do in order to get a structure down. And there's various ways you can do this, and you'll see that there's various ways you can do this. So now I'm drawing my ellipse again, and this time I'm drawing a segment. I'm angling it. Okay, then I connect my sides, because what am I making? A cylinder shape. Okay. Making another cylinder shape. This one I make a little bit bigger. But I'm going to make a curve connection. You see this? This is a little bit different than what I did on the previous cylinder. Previous one I went straight down, but this time I'm doing a curve. Now what I want you to notice when I did that curve is I did it one curved way on the left side, and then I did it a different curved way on the right side. So I don't know if you noticed that, but I want you to pay attention to that. This time I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to make the cylinder at the bottom smaller and curve it in. You see how this works? So we're just doing different type of shapes and different type of shape connections. So you got my segment in the middle. And I'm connecting the sides now. And you see how I'm doing this? I'm doing it at a curved angle. On the left side, I'm curving it one way, and on the right side, I'm curving it another. So I did this same shape here, but what I did is I rotated it so that it will be, the top part would be angled towards you. So I'm just creating another shape to where I'm putting the angle, made a smaller shape here, and there my segment so I can know the angle. So you always want to put that segment. You don't have to, but it helps out a whole lot when you do that. So I did the same thing, but this time I rotated this particular shape. You see this particular object. So we did both objects and we rotated them. And so you say, what is this particular shape at the top? What is this? What does this consist of? Well, as you can see, I'm connecting some other objects to it to give you an idea of what this could be. And I'm going to connect this to give you an idea of what this particular shape could be. Okay. So as you can see at the bottom here, maybe that could be a, this shape could be like the hip section of a figure. And then the legs be another, the thigh muscle could be another segment of the human figure. So when I trace these out, you can see what I've created. See how that looks like a cylinder? Maybe that could be the thigh muscle. Maybe this could be the tricep of an arm. And this is the bicep of the arm on the right side here. See that? So as in relation to a body, we could see how that these particular shapes that we just created could be connected to a body. And that's the bicep, and here is the deltoid muscle or the shoulder muscle. See this? So you probably can't tell what's going on right now, but you'll see in just a second. So this could be a hip muscle, and this could be the thigh. Okay. And then we have the hips, and so it's kind of connected like a robot. See how it's connected? It could be a hip muscle, and then this cylinder object could be the thigh muscle. See that? You say, but what about this top one, Willie? What about this top one up here? Well, when I erase these lines, you can kind of see what this looks like. See how this looks like the thigh muscle to a robot, or it could be a transformer. So when I erase those proportion lines, those segments that I use to construct the shape and the object, I can erase that now because I have my shape, what I'm looking for. So you might be wondering what this top one is that I'm erasing right now, but this could be a shoulder and it could be the arm. You know, how could it be a shoulder and arm, Mr. Balloon? Well, look how when I draw this shoulder, and maybe this could be the head here, okay? There's his ear. Okay, so we got his ear right here. And that's his jawbone. And then that's his back of his hair, back of his head. So you see how that could be a shoulder or an arm from that shape that we just created? And there's the back of his torso. So that's the beauty of being able to create these objects in these cylinders, is because it helps you to easily make the human figure and segments on the body. So I want you to try this out.